Hey guys, Vatolicious here with the inevitable Reaper of Souls video. Now, I have tried to record this about 6 or 7 times at this point, and every time I do it, the video ends up being over 30 minutes, and I just can't seem to be short and concise about my points, and I go into way too much detail about everything. So what we're just going to do is we're going to answer the question, should you buy Reaper of Souls and come back to, or maybe even get into Diablo 3 for the first time? Now, right off the bat, let me just say, I think that the expansion is very good. They fixed a lot of problems that I had in the vanilla launch, and even problems that I had, a week ago when the patch 2.0 came out. And I've had a good time. I've had a good, 4 days, 5 days. I'm recording this March 30th. Sunday, March 30th, so the 25th. It's been 5 days. And I've had, 4 solid days in between to play this. And I had a good time with it. And unfortunately now, I'm done. I'm hopelessly bored of this game after 5 days. But the question still remains, do I regret purchasing it? Do I think that I got my $40 worth? And I will say yes. Surprisingly, I enjoyed the game. The Crusader here, I leveled him from 1 to 70. And it was very fun. That being said, if you don't want to level a Crusader, you're not going to get 30 hours of game time. At least if you're, if you're someone who agrees with me, and you're going to get bored to the same point that I got bored. Then if you're starting from level 60, and you're just leveling up the character you had in vanilla, then that's going to be a huge chunk of time gone for you. But let me explain just exactly why I am so bored after so few days of playing this game. And that would be because you've got access, as soon as you hit top level that is, to every single skill and rune that you're ever going to be able to have. Now, this is nice, and also kind of boring. It doesn't allow you anything to work towards. You can't say, oh, I want to get this, particular spell and this particular rune so that I can do this particular build. As well, you can only have skills that are within your class. And you can only have 1 rune per skill. Now, you might be saying, what's wrong with that? Only being able to have spells within your class, that is absolutely nothing new. That's been in every game. Only being able to have 1 rune per skill, I mean, what's wrong with that? If you had more than 1 rune, they would be hopelessly overpowered and the game would be ruined. And I can agree with that. But as you may know, if you're a subscriber and you've seen my other videos on this topic, you'll know that I compare Diablo very often and directly to Path of Exile. Why I do this? First reason, Path of Exile is free. Don't have to pay anything. There's absolutely no pay to win in that game at all. It's 100% free game. Also, it's very, very directly marketed towards the Diablo 2 audience. Whereas, personally, I would say Diablo 3, the successor in namesake only, is very directly marketed towards World of Warcraft players, which you may disagree with me, but I'd say it's a pretty valid argument, and I can understand why they would do that. The WoW audience is huge. Absolutely massive. It dwarfs the Diablo 2 audience, and they've also, Diablo 2 audience, they've also, been marketed to many different times. Specifically, Torchlight, which is Runic Games, who you may know, are I believe their last name is Eric Schaefer, or something. Those guys were originally the ones who created Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. So it makes more sense for Blizzard with Diablo 3 to go towards the World of Warcraft audience. Now in Path of Exile, you can have any spell in the game on any character. Simply obtain that spell gem, put it into your gear, and you can have it. As well, there are many support gems. They act the same way runes do, and on the whole, the support gems are not as powerful as runes, and if Diablo were to implement some kind of a system where you could have multiple modifications, the runes, the modifications themselves would have to be weaker, or else it would ruin the game. But in Path of Exile, like say this scale here, where I've got the hammers, I really like this spell in this game. Now, the lightning that changes between me and the hammers is a rune. So in Path of Exile, I could say, I want more hammers. So I want greater multiple projectiles on that, and it would be, 6 more hammers. Also, I want the hammers to fork into different projectiles when they hit things. I want the projectiles to spin faster, and I want them to give me, hatred when they, or not wrath, or whatever it is, whatever Crusaders use. I want them to generate mana or whatever it is when they hit things. So I can really, really focus on the one spell that I really like and just make it very, very powerful. You can't do that in this game, and that absolutely limits its appeal for me and probably a lot of people. As well, having access to all these skills right off the bat gives you really nothing to work towards. Having no passive tree gives you also nothing to work towards. You don't have to think about how you're going to build your character when you start it. You can just change things. So if I was soloing, which I was doing, these are not the spells I would use if I was going to go tank rifts in a high torment level with people. And I can just go in here, change all my passives, change my active skills to make myself extra tanky and get taunts and things like that. And I can change it all on the fly. I can even change my Paragon levels. There's a reset button right here, and I can change them all to be defensive, offensive, whatever I need. I can modify my character right there on the fly. And that is actually a good thing. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy that. In Path of Exile, you can't do that. In fact, if you want to change your character at all, tough luck, create a new one. And that bothers a lot of people. Myself, I've got several characters over level 50 in that game who are useless because I built them poorly, and it's very difficult to to salvage a very poorly built character. You've just got to do it over again. But at least it gives you something to work towards. You have to think about your character. You can't just modify it all right off the bat, which is cool. More importantly than the skills, though, in the character building, there is absolutely no barrier to any of the content in this game at all. Like I was mentioning before, I feel like the game was very directly marketed towards the World of Warcraft audience, and the changes that are happening within this game mirror the changes that are happening within World of Warcraft and have happened. So for example, in World of Warcraft, when you're doing a raid, there are now 5 difficulties. There is the looking for raid difficulty, the flexible raid difficulty, normal, hard mode, and now they're introducing something called mythic. There are also 5 difficulties of Diablo. So you've got normal through torment. Torment does have its own sliders, so you could say that there is an additional 5 to make it 10, because there are 6 levels of torment. And really, for me, there is absolutely no point in working towards torment level 6 to see the same content that I could put on normal and just go experience. There is not holding anything back here, so I can go on normal and I can do the bounty system. I can do rifts. I can go kill Malthael, and everything is the same except for the numbers are smaller. Now in Torment there are new legendaries that become available at level 70, and there are also gems that start dropping when you get to master level difficulty. But this is absolutely in no way a draw for me to really focus on trying to get better and better and better gear, just so that I can put this slider all the way to the right hand side and kill monsters with very large numbers. I would have very much preferred if they would hold back certain content and say that, look, you can only do certain content in the Torment difficulties. Torments 1 through 3, you can do X, Y, and Z bosses and rifts. Torments 4 through 6 are some other ones. And you've got to put in your time, get some gear, learn how to play well so that you can go in and see all the content that's available in this game. Now, it would have been nice if, like, say, the Malthael encounter had a set difficulty. So regardless of what difficulty you're playing it on, his encounter and his mechanics will always be the same, and his numbers will always be the same. So regardless of whether you're on normal or torment, his fight would always be difficult. It would be somewhere probably around torment 5 or 6, and you just kind of had to be geared enough and good enough to go and do it. That would have been interesting. Now you may say, you compare this to Path of Exile. Path of Exile has that annoying traditional system of beat it once on easy, beat it again on medium, and then you beat it again when your character's higher level. And yeah, you're replaying the same content in Path of Exile 3 times before you get to the end game, but that's sort of where it makes the biggest deviation from the Diablo system, is that you've beaten it on the 3rd difficulty, which would be Hell difficulty in D2, if you want to make that comparison. So you've beat it on normal, you've beat it on Nightmare, and you've beat it on Hell. And once you've completed it on Hell, you unlock an entirely different thing. So in Diablo, it's sort of the same way. When you beat the campaign mode, you have adventure mode unlocked down here, and that allows you to do the bounties and the rifts. In Path of Exile, you get what equates to adventure mode, I guess, kind of, when you've beaten the game on the 3rd difficulty, or at the very least once you have leveled up enough to start getting the items. They only drop until once you get into your 60s or whatever, and then that allows you to collect what are called maps and do the what amount to rifts, and you have to get up to that point, and doing that is an achievement in and of itself, because you've had to create that character, you've had to build the passives in such a way, you've got to find the right gear, you've got to use the right spells and supplement them with support gems, and really build a character who's capable of getting to that content and doing that content. And there is no slider. So if I was having trouble getting there, let's say I wasn't doing too good in my campaign, and I went, I gotta turn it down to normal, so that I can complete the campaign and unlock my adventure mode, so that I can do the adventure mode on lower difficulties, and then do what? I hope I've been clear on this. I'm trying to get my point across. When you don't hold anything back, and when you've got these sliding difficulties so that everybody can have a turn, so to speak, the last ability of the game goes away entirely. Now I understand they have no reason in Diablo for you to come back and play, and once you've beat the campaign, once you've had a little fun in the adventure mode, there's no microtransactions in this game, there's no subscription fee, so inevitably they don't really need you to stick around. You've had your fun, see you later. And so therefore I can't really say that the way they're doing it is essentially bad, because the market is different. They're not marketing to the same people that Path of Exile is marketing, and I guess it doesn't affect everybody the same way that it would affect me. And on the whole, the game is really good now. There's no auction house. The loot 2.0 is fantastic. The new character is fantastic. The new art models are great. The story in the expansion was infinitely better than the vanilla story, and I really enjoyed Malthael fight. He was pretty cool. So on the whole, I would say this is a good game, but you have to ask yourself, how much time do you think you're going to be willing to put into it? Are you going to level a Crusader? If not, that's going to diminish your time input into this game significantly. Are you going to really want to farm and get to Torment level 6? If so, then you'll have a good deal of time playing in this game. Once you've seen all the content, you've gotten some good loot, you've done some endgame stuff, you've done some rifts, if you're going to be done, you might not get very much time out of it. But that's just been my opinion. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.